All right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today. First and foremost, I want to recognize the partnership between Bald Head Island and Duke Energy. We appreciate the platform to share any updates with you that may impact our customers and community where we live, work, and serve. Today, I will give a brief update on the state of energy in North Carolina and how those updates will impact your community. I'll also leave time for questions at the end, ensuring that we have time for an open dialogue. And then I'll let Danielle Peoples round out the updates on infrastructure improvements on the island. A few weeks ago, the North Carolina Utilities Commission released a carbon plan order that will serve as a roadmap for the state's energy goals. This plan signifies one of the most important milestones in our state's energy journey. The plan outlines the tactical details of how we're going to meet 70% carbon reduction by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2050, and sets up the parameters for how we need to get there. I want to share a few high-level takeaways from the plan. The biggest takeaway is that the Commission's plan strongly affirms the value of an all-of-the-above approach to carbon reduction, meaning we will be pursuing a diverse mix of resources to meet our reduction goals. You can see here that nuclear, renewables, and new technologies like battery storage are all a part of that mix. How this comes to life in the coming years will impact each and every one of our communities, and we will continue working directly with you and other community leaders to pursue the best path forward for North Carolina. The other takeaway from the order was the Commission's commitment to meet these goals without compromising the customer experience in any way, specifically addressing reliability and affordability. First, I'd like to touch on the reliability piece, and I cannot do so without addressing the rolling outages on Christmas Eve. I know these outages had significant impacts on you or someone you know. And before I go any further, I want to express how sorry we are for what our customers experience. Know that we will continue learning from this, and we will use that knowledge to improve wherever we can. Another recent incident that needs addressing here is the vandalism of the Moore County substation. Both of these events not only reaffirmed the importance of reliable energy, but brought reliability to the forefront of the national conversation. The North Carolina Utilities Commission order specifically states that electric system reliability during the energy transition is non-negotiable for the continued health and well-being of all North Carolinians. With these recent events in mind, we take that very seriously. Lastly, in regard to wind, we believe that offshore wind could be a valuable resource for a least cost path to achieving carbon neutrality over the long term. And we're glad the Commission kept that option viable by authorizing transmission development common to all lease areas, including our own. As we continue our assessment, we look forward to listening and learning from diverse stakeholders and community members in the region to ensure we're being thoughtful about all aspects of the potential project and can deliver it in the most economical way for our customers. We will provide updates on what we learn in our next carbon plan filing by September 1st. All that's to say, we have our work cut out for us. On the screen, we'll see a number of timelines coming up and milestones associated with the carbon plan. This is really how our rubber meets the road approach to accomplishing the goals, and we look forward to securing your partnership in doing so. Last, I want to quickly cover Duke Energy's role in the carbon plan process. First, we'll ensure the clean energy transition happens at the lowest cost to customers with equal or greater reliability. Two, we'll prioritize existing plant sites for replacement, generation, employing all existing transmission, workforce, and infrastructure. Third, we'll create jobs and new tax base in communities across North Carolina and South Carolina as we build new infrastructure and invest in new technologies. We'll leverage carbon-free generation as a means to help employers meet their sustainability commitments, attracting new jobs and facilitating industry expansions in the Carolina. And lastly, maximize the Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, and other opportunities to save money for customers. That really concludes what I had prepared today. And in closing, I'll say that we take the stewardship of our state's energy future very seriously, and we know our customers have very high expectations of us. As Duke Energy implements the carbon plan, reliability, affordability, and community partnership will be the cornerstone of everything that we do. And that concludes my summary of where we are with the carbon plan. I'll take questions if you have any.
Pam, this is Scott Gardner. How are you doing?
I am doing good, Scott. Hope you are.
Doing fine, thank you. I really appreciate all you're doing to help keep my pension check coming. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated. Pam, can we get is this a deck that's available for public consumption that we could post on the village website for those that are interested, or some other mechanism to share with the island residents and property owners?
Scott,
What you'll share with?
sure, Scott, let me check back with our corporate communications partners to make sure this is something that I can release to the village. And I'll be glad to circle back to either you and or Karen in order to respond to that question.
Just respond to Karen. That'd be fine. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Scott, were you going to mention about the wind energy?
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah. So, Pam, I'm not a member of the state NC Towers infrastructure subcommittee, but I listen in and tune in to what's going on there. And at the last infrastructure subcommittee meeting, it was a discussion about transmission. And I don't know, I've talked to Kevin about this, Kevin McLaughlin about this, by the way, but I haven't to you.
Mhm.
But simply to make you aware that the last meeting talked a lot about transmission, how the offshore wind is going to be brought onshore and how it's going to be moved once it gets there. And I think of most interest to Duke is the potential that there would be an offshore transmission system built interconnecting all the offshore wind projects together. And then brought onshore through some other mechanism. And the role that FERC would play in that is undetermined. I just found that interesting to hear that is one possibility when there's a lot of existing transmission infrastructure currently in place on the mainland.
Absolutely. Is that Scott?
Yes.
Okay. We are still pursuing all avenues, and final decisions have not been made at this time. So as we get more information, we will definitely share that information out. Based on the information that I shared today, Scott, we're looking at an all of the above approach. And as we can share information with our partners, our municipalities, and our communities, we will absolutely do so.
Much appreciated.
You are most welcome.
Okay. Danielle, are you ready to go?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I wanted to provide a quick update on where we are with the grid improvement project and offer to take any questions. And then also I wanted to note that a few of us with the project team will be out there on site tomorrow. So if there's anything that folks want to look at or connect on more specifically, we'd be happy to say hello and meet up with you all. So quickly, the good news is we are scheduled to have this project completed by the end of March. So we have been out there working for several years and appreciate all that the village has done to partner with us and work with us and solution with us. Chris and Karen and JP and the team have been very wonderful to work with and giving updates and helping us think through considerations and timing for the island. So thank you, thank you. Today, you'll continue to see a little bit of work in a couple of areas, which are part of the final steps. So there's some work going on in the Federal Road area down near the Nature Preserve. We're finishing up some final underground boring in that area. We'll be doing cable pulls. So by the end of this month, you should see us out of that location. Also this week, we've been working to energize some new switchgear that's in the marina area, and Karen helped us get an update out in the last e-newsletter, monthly village news, about that and the traffic flow impacts there. So that's something that the group of us really want to look at tomorrow and make sure that everything's looking good with that installation. As a reminder, we did, as part of this project, look at the entire underground system at Bald Head Island, and we were able to work with a vendor to do some customized equipment to help ensure that we had automatic switching capabilities back in our control center. So if something happens, we can reroute power automatically. These were also done to spec to be submersible for a period of time. So trying to think about flood mitigation techniques. So it's a very exciting milestone to have these switchgear being installed. There's a lot of coordination too with the switchgear that was in the wildlife overlook area. And that switchgear is now energized, and the Bald Head Association group were great to work with, Carrie and team, on just coordinating our ability to get in there and be thoughtful about all the work that had gone on in that area recently to get that area updated and the new overlook area in place. So we wanted to be really courteous as we were working in that area, especially. So we're coming to the finish line, which is very exciting, and happy to answer any questions, or if folks are seeing specific things you want a little more detail on, I'll open it up.
Yeah, just a quick comment, Danielle. Yeah, the project is so extensive, and I'm sure that 90% of the people on the island have no idea what you've accomplished. And as long as it's all underground, they never will, which is great. That's how it should be. As you come into the end of the project, I'd really like to have a session that you're working with our staff directly to polish up anything that we've left behind. And so I think that a lot of projects on the island, and this isn't targeting you, it's projects in general. We get all done, the people who are doing most of the work walk away, and all of a sudden we're looking at it, it's like, boy, now we got to landscape this, now we got to repair. And it just wants you to be a part of that too, so that, we're all walking away smiling.
Sure. Yeah, we want to end it on a high note too. So would be glad to make sure that we do a final wrap up and make sure we tie a nice bow around it all.
That's great.
Maybe this is what you meant by final wrap up, but I'm just thinking, yeah, I don't know 3/4 of what they did. And I'm hearing underground water protection, blah, blah, blah. Should there be like a 1-page summary of the major accomplishments of this project? Not just for us, but put right in the Village Voice for everybody to see?
Yeah, now, Karen, you've done that a few times, haven't you? Or at least describe the project.
Describing the project.
It was after one of the meetings that we had with several of the Duke folks, so.
But
Out again.
yeah, well, I think actually looking at it
Talking about
as a
beginning to end.
finalized, hey,
Yeah.
look what we just got done doing.
Right.
And,
Well, we need like Danielle's help on.
no, I think Danielle,
Yeah.
I'd really like
Bullet
you-
points.
yeah,
kind of what happened.
I'd like Duke to be spearheading that. and then-
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll make sure it gets out into the public.
Yeah, 'cause that's a little bit different than, this is what's going to be going on the next 3 months, and this will be the end date, and these are the roads that we be blocked off. This is very different. This is
Right, no,
what
this-
was accomplished.
Right,
Yes,
right.
Yeah, I mean, because in the very beginning, this was touted as in excess of $10 million major capital improvement project for.
Right.
You know, which is obviously an investment into the island and all the improvements that are gonna come with it. And so I know there were add-ons and additional work, Pam and Danielle, that probably bumped that number up some, but yeah, I think that's a good idea
and
to,
if we didn't pay for that, that's definitely got to be a bullet point. That would be a good one.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but I think just to follow up on the mayor's point, it's on that wrap up, Danielle, I'm thinking like, you know, looking at some help with some landscaping and some of those disturbed areas, like with the spoils pit and for the some of the major intersections around where work was done, like at Muscadine and South and so forth. So we'll circle back on that to work through that in the coming week.
Yeah, that sounds great. And Karen, happy to brainstorm on some ways that we can tell the story collectively too. And your Village News is wonderful. And I know you've got a dedicated web page set up for us on the Village website for this project. So I think we've got some good options that we can leverage, and happy to brainstorm that more with you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Hey, thanks so much, both of you. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody wants to meet up while we're out there tomorrow, feel free to give me a call if there's anything you want to look at or any additional questions.
Okay, great.